This is India in 2018. It is one of the fastest growing major economies, and the experts are calling it a big growth story. By 2025, the standard of living in many Indian states will be similar to 2012 levels of high and middle income nations. For instance, per capita GDP of Goa and Chandigarh will be similar to 2012 levels of Spain. India is the largest democracy in the world, and a comparison with communist China may not sound very fair, but in per capita terms, India's GDP in 2016 was similar to China's GDP of 2007. IMF predicts that India will continue to be one of the fastest growing economies. What is it that makes India one of the largest growth engines for the world? And what are the factors that are favoring India? My name is Karolina Goswami, and in this episode, I will be highlighting the top reasons that make India's growth story very unique. It is predicted that by 2025, India will have the largest 18 to 22-year-old population in the world. Actually, this is how it looked like in 2012. And this is how it is expected to look like in 2025. India will be followed by China and Indonesia. India is also going to be the largest domestic higher education market, and again, it will be followed by China. Over the next 3 decades, more than 350 million Indians will be moving into cities, and it is expected that India will be the world's largest middle-class consumer market by 2030, overtaking both China and the USA. According to Goldman Sachs, India's consumer story will be led by its 440 million millennials and by its 390 million Gen Zers. And according to a report by the Boston Consulting Group, by 2025, India's consumption expenditure will increase 3 times, and it is expected to hit $4 trillion. On the basis of their income, BCG divides India's households into 5 categories: elite, affluent, aspirers, next billion, and strugglers. And here is a good news. By 2025, the percentage of the strugglers is expected to decline. By 2025, 40% of Indian population will be living in urban areas. Migration to urban centers will not be limited to India's megacities, as population and consumption are going to rise in small towns too. Leading investors have considered India as the most attractive market, and foreign direct investment is increasing. India is becoming a new home to global innovation centers. The availability of talent is said to be a key driver for this growth. In most cases, Bangalore is a preferred destination, but other Indian cities are coming up too. And cumulatively, this is where India stood in the total number of innovation centers, according to the Capgemini study. By 2020, India is expected to be placed at the 5th position in Global Manufacturing Competitive Index, and gradually, its percentage in global trade share will increase too. A study by the Boston Consulting Group and CII reveals that over the long term, the Indian manufacturing sector has shown steady results. In around 25 years, 1 rupee of output increased to 21 rupees. Over the next 2 decades, India will be investing billions of dollars to transform its infrastructure. It is expected that passenger traffic at Indian airports will cross 400 million people by 2020, and the Airports Authority of India is aiming to start operating 250 airports before that. Better highways, better port infrastructure, bullet train, hyperloop. India is going for everything. India is developing or planning 5 industrial corridors that are supposed to be the core elements in India's growth story. These 5 corridors present multiple investment and growth possibilities. India is not just planning to be well connected internally, but it is also working on projects that will make it better connected with the rest of the world. India has joined the Ashgabat Agreement, which will diversify India's connectivity options with Central Asia. This agreement is going to synchronize with India's efforts to implement the International North-South Transport Corridor for improved connectivity with Eurasia. New Delhi is also focused on the completion of the India-Myanmar-Thailand Trilateral Highway, and there is already a plan to extend this highway to Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam. In many ways, India is rising. The sheer size of India's youth has opened many new possibilities. But what India does with its youth is even more important. India's former president APJ Abdul Kalam said, "Unemployability is a bigger crisis than unemployment, and this is why skill development programs are very important." India is very fortunate that its growth is happening in a highly digital environment. Through their smartphones, young citizens of India are nicely equipped to help themselves and also to connect with the world. By spending more in education, science and health, and by formalizing its informal sectors, India's journey to prosperity is only going to get shorter. With a strong focus on renewable energy and environment, if India does what is required to constantly improve on ease of doing business, and if it can capitalize on the aspects which are undeniably positive, India has many reasons to be optimistic. In a nation of more than 1 billion, there are many challenges, many opportunities, and many possibilities. Yes, India is a big growth story, and it is likely to remain so. See you again.